Time for the CJFL coach's comment. Catching up with Matt Snyder, the new head coach of the London Beefeaters. How you doing, Coach?
Great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Have you settled in your head coaching role with the Beefeaters?
It's been a great, 6 months. Nobody becomes a head coach because they like to do administrative duties, but getting those taken care of now so we can focus on the field and get ready to go on Monday and start practice for training camp.
Has it been a big transition for you? You were part of, you weren't necessarily with the Beefeaters. Where were you before this?
Yeah, I was at Western for the last 3 years as the running backs coach. Stepped aside right before the last season, which they actually won in Vanier. So I'm the guy that left Western right before they won the Vanier. We were supposed to get married and COVID pushed our wedding back, so we were getting married right during training camp and stepped aside and went and coached high school. But yeah, I've been coaching at Western for the last 3 years before that as well. I've been associated with the London Junior Mustangs summer program for the last 5 or so years. Longtime high school coach before that, summer football coach. So coached a lot of football in London.
They're not even going to give you a ring? I guess you got a different ring.
You know what? I like to earn the ring, so I'm going to try to get one myself this year.
No stranger to the Beefeaters as well, former player. When did you play? And you were a quarterback, right?
Yeah, I was a quarterback long years and many pounds ago. 2001 and 2003, I played for one of the legendary London coaches, Mike Cercelli, who's now part of the staff at University of Windsor. I would say I probably watched more football than I played at that point, and then I went on to the University of Windsor, played quarterback there actually for Coach Mike Morency, who is the defensive coordinator for the St. Clair Fratmen, our rivals. So a couple games this year where me and my old coach will go head to head, and we'll see who's kind of learned more in the last couple of years. So yeah.
That'll be fun. Are you looking forward to getting on the field this Monday? With, like you said, the administration stuff is now kind of taken care of, and you inherit Ontario football champions coming into this season.
Yeah, I can't wait to get on the field. I've been coaching the U16 Junior Mustangs. I had committed to them before I got hired, so I've been kind of doing double duty. So I got about a 3 week or a month period where I'm going to be coaching 4 days a week, which is good for me. I love to do it. So you can't find a better thing for me to do in the summer, but excited to get on the field and coach our guys with some competitiveness on the line. We've been doing our off-season practices the last few months. We did our spring camp in May, some passing schools in June. But now that we know that there's a goal in sight where we got a game in 6 weeks, we're ready to go, and I'm excited to get out there and work.
How will this team look? A lot of similarities, a lot of differences?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time around the team last year because I did some of the TV for their home games, so I had a chance to watch them play. I think we're going to be very competitive. We return a lot of players from the championship team, a lot of guys that were on the 2019 championship as well. Lose a couple, real good players from last year's team. Cody McRoberts, who's moved on, is a huge loss for us, but we got players ready to step up. We did learn recently that, Taz Bell, our running back, will be back for his last year. A couple of all-stars from last year. Tyler Thompson, one of our linebackers, is back. And we're able to secure a bunch of big-time commitments from some high school players moving on, but also some guys that have, been at higher levels that are coming to us now, and should be a very competitive environment. We think that we'll be right in the mix of things in Ontario. One thing about Ontario, though, is it could be anybody's year in a year. St. Clair's always strong. Hamilton's got a great program. They've recruited really well. I know Quincy's working real hard over there, and we had a chance to talk to some of their coaches. Ottawa being back is huge for the league, and that's a hotbed of football there. And, I'm looking at some of the summer teams in Ottawa. They're dominating, so those guys will move up to junior. And I think GTA's, moving in the right direction. They got a great coach there who's trying to get their program started. So I feel like they're going to be in good shape as well.
For your team, though, that experience of that championship run last year, just so valuable coming into this year, and really extra motivation now for the players to get back to that game.
Absolutely. Once people get a taste of victory, it's hard for them to accept anything less. We really don't have to coach motivation and effort too much at our practices because our guys push themselves. We've had some very spirited practices. Our Pascali sessions have been pretty intense in the last couple of weeks. So we feel pretty good about where we're at in terms of the guys that we have leading our team. And I think there's a ton of talent there. And like I said, we've also brought in some guys that are going to push those guys. So everyone's going to have to battle to win. But at the end of the day, that's going to make the team the best team you can be because the best guys are going to play.
Coming into camp, what do you think is the best competition or the best position that has the most competition?
Receiver. We are probably 22 deep at receiver with guys that we feel pretty solid about. We're probably going to roll a 3 deep going into training camp of guys that are going to be in the mix to start. So we probably have, off the top of my head, 10 to 13 guys that could play, and you wouldn't see a big difference in them. So I think receiver is going to be a huge mix. Defensive line is probably the one spot where we did graduate a little bit. So there'll be a good opportunity for guys who haven't been starters to move in a starting role. We got 2 good running backs that'll both play a ton, and they've played together before, so they complement each other very well. And then fullback, which is a new position for our offense. They didn't roll with a fullback much last year, and we're transitioning to a little bit different system. So we got a lot of guys, and we really recruited heavily at fullback position. We got a lot of guys that'll come in and battle for those top 2 spots.
How about your old position? How about the quarterback spot?
Yeah, so we returned last year's backup, Ethan Reed. We're also bringing back a quarterback, Jordan Mackey, who was with the team last year, who had left this halfway through the year to return home due to a family concern. We also signed a pretty high-level recruit, Ethan Chambers, who's a London local high school football champion, played at University of Guelph for a few years, so he's played at a high level. Coming out of spring camp, Ethan's probably in the lead at this point, but we're going to open it up and let everybody have a chance to compete. Signed a real talented local high school quarterback named Damon Barrows, who led his team to the London High School Championship this fall, which is a pretty competitive league in its own right. So he's got some experience. He's playing with the Summer Forest State Thunderbirds right now. So he's a guy that we think we can develop long-term. Signed a really talented quarterback from Thunder Bay named Peter Burgess, who's just, the ball explodes off his hand. So he's another young guy. He'll join us probably late August, early September when Fanshawe residence open. So he's another guy that we think could be a bright spot for our future. Very talented at quarterback. It's a position you got to have a great one. It's probably the most important spot on the field, and we feel pretty good there that not only do we have guys that could start and be impact players in the league, but a lot of depth as well.
Extra pressure on you to win right away, even though you're just a first-year guy, but defending champs in Ontario?
Every game for me is just like the most intense. I'm the kind of guy that I go into every game thinking that this is going to be the biggest battle I've ever played, and we're just really worried about, like, and I know everybody says this, it's easy to say. I'm just worried about having a great practice Monday. Let's have a great practice on Monday, and then I'll worry about Wednesday on Wednesday. So I don't really look ahead too much. I spent some time at Western. I got to coach under Greg Marshall, probably the greatest Canadian football coach around right now. And I learned a lot of stuff from him. But the one thing that I really learned, and I said this on a previous interview, is every week for Greg, Coach Marshall, I don't like to call him Greg, he's Coach Marshall to me. Every week for Coach Marshall is the same week. Monday's Monday, Tuesday's Tuesday, Wednesday's Wednesday. It doesn't matter if you're playing a team that was 0-8 last year or you're in the Vanier Cup. It's the same week. You create consistency. You focus on doing what you need to do that day to get your job done. And then that's kind of our focus right now. Have a great practice today. We'll worry about tomorrow. Let's just take care of stuff on the field.
That said, you got to be looking forward to game 1.
Can't wait to play. I've been coaching a lot of football this summer, so I feel like I'm kind of in my groove right now in terms of, play calling and seeing the game. So I'm excited to get out there, coach at a bit higher level, a little bit faster football with some players that are older, really get a chance to do some things, interesting things that we've been kind of experimenting with in the summer. So really, yeah, definitely excited to go out to Ottawa August 13th, kick off against the Sooners. They'll be tough. We're going to battle them hard, and it'll be a great game to start the season for us.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch in Ontario. Good luck the rest of the way, and then I'm sure we'll catch up to you throughout the season.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Take care.